I found the spot accidentally on one of the first days of my freshman year of college. It's a grassy patch of land about the size of a small basketball court overlooking the Connecticut River. Two wicker armchairs are perched on the edge facing the water. Tall red and gold trees flank both sides of the river, and sitting here you can see about a mile of New Hampshire beauty. Visiting this spot has become a sort of ritual for me, a routine I started about the second week of college when my friend Franklin and I began feeling stressed out by our writing class. On the first day of class, our professor, a former homicide lawyer, leaned over her desk and told us to synchronize our watches to the clock on the wall because we should never expect to walk in a minute late for class. 1 week later, she handed back our first papers. On Franklin, she wrote, "This is a terrible attempt at an essay. Try again." On mine, she wrote, "You appear to have forgotten to write the paper," and nothing more. Franklin and I were crushed. Convinced that there was no way we could survive 4 years ahead of us, he and I began taking walks to the river. Together after class, we'd make the trek, exiting the bubble of our campus as we walked across the bridge that took us from New Hampshire to Vermont. After about a 5-minute walk, we'd reach the spot and would immediately drop our bags and slowly sink into the wicker armchairs. For about 40 minutes, we'd sit, looking into the skyline of seemingly endless trees and twinkling water, focusing on nothing but how good the sun's warmth felt on our skin. We let all our thoughts about papers, the readings we needed to do, and the upcoming exams slip from our minds. Instead, we talked about the things that got lost in the daily rush, like how Franklin, who was coming out, was so worried that his family was homophobic that he didn't think he could tell his twin sister he was gay. Going to the river was a way to slow things down, and neither of us had slowed down in a while. In high school, we had stayed focused on getting into an elite college. We dedicated almost all our time to schoolwork, activities, and preparing for college entrance exams. We didn't spend time just traveling or figuring things out. I thought young people lived like this everywhere until I went to Israel this winter. In Israel, young people spend 2 years after high school serving in the army. Many of them take another year or two to travel before even beginning college. Most people my age told me they don't feel pressure to figure out what they want to do with their lives because it's not uncommon not to know until your mid-20s, and even then to take time to shift around. It's not that way for us. Not knowing what you want to do with your life by the time you're 25 seems crazy. Before we even get to college, we're supposed to know what we want to study so that we can choose a school with a good program in that area. And once there, there's a path set out. Declare your major, spend your summers interning at high-profile companies, and find a job immediately after you graduate. This path doesn't give you much time to be confused. There's not a lot of time allotted to not knowing. It's like a treadmill that's always turned on. But in our daily trips to the river, Franklin and I found a way to hop off and just catch our breath.